What's good? It's your boy Jungle Jaye, hot and ready, live and direct, changing one person at a time. We have Naughty Bob from Naughty Nolans, owner, facilitator, the man. We're going to ask him some questions about what we never talk about, okay? Let's do it. All right. When was the last time you had a real conversation about sex?
Today.
Yes, we had a fucking fire conversation.
Actually, today.
Yeah.
But I talk about sex a lot, so it comes natural to me.
Yeah. So today, when we were talking about that conversation, what do you think brought that along, and how do you feel that went?
Well, I guess for me, it's part of my business. I talk about sex a lot, and having you over to the house and having some other people over asking questions, I just think I live my life on my wish more people could talk about it openly.
Yeah. Do you feel at certain points in times it's hard to bring that conversation into the light when it's not people as open as the group that we had?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't talk about what I do or about sexuality in a normal day-to-day business because most people can't handle it. Most people don't want to talk about it. It freaks people out.
Sure.
It's so natural. I don't understand why people can't talk about it, but there's such a stigma. People think you're weird, I think, if you bring it up.
Yeah. And I think if we had more opportunity to incorporate all the states of being as equal and try to understand them, whether you're at mentally, emotionally, financially, socially, sexually, spiritually, where you're at with your physical body, I think we would have a more opportunity to do so. I think that's fucking valid. But so why is I don't know what I like more common than I love when?
I don't know. I know what I like.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are afraid of expressing it, though.
Yeah.
They have fantasies that they're afraid to talk to their partners with. And once you finally can tell your partner everything that you want, that you're into, I think that's true freedom.
Yeah. Do you feel like a lot of times people say, I don't know because they never experienced it, or?
I think deep down they probably do know, but they're afraid of what the reaction is going to be back from their partner.
For sure.
So they may have a deep down secret that they might want to try bisexuality, but they're afraid that their partner will freak out if they say that. So they just keep it to themselves. I think same thing with things like anal and other things. People think about it, but they're afraid to broach that subject.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of times outside of the norm of what you normally would do during sex, the things that you would think that are weird when it's really just probably an evolution of your relationship is the problem. Do you see that being the case with a lot of people?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's a fear of rejection.
All right. We're back. Okay. So have you learned more from Pillow Talk than any podcast?
Without a doubt. Yeah. I learn more in bed than I ever do outside of bed.
Yeah.
But I like to listen. I like to hear. I like to ask questions. And luckily for me, my partners have been pretty forthgoing.
Yeah. Do you feel like the podcasts that are out there aren't as transparent, or maybe you just don't know about them?
No, I think podcasts have come a long way. I mean, sexuality and podcasts really in the last 10 years are much, much, much better in talking about things that are more open now. In my experience, I've learned a lot more in bed than I have outside of bed. But I think the evolution of podcasts is definitely a incredible journey for normal, everyday people to learn more about sex.
What do you think is the number one thing from Pillow Talk, maybe after you've fucked or sex or anything, that maybe you've taken away or talked about or done?
I think it's just more about fantasies. I think I've learned from my partners fantasies that I never thought they would be into, and found out in this Pillow Talk that during the moment of sex, when they're really at a sexual height and really turned on, they'll talk about things that they won't talk about other times. Mm-hmm. And then we can take those times and turn them into reality.
Hell yeah.
Reality.
Hell yeah. So is there a certain fantasy that you could talk about, or?
Well, I mean, for me, I've done a lot of threesomes and foursomes with my partners. Yeah. And those are things that I found out about from talking in bed and Pillow Talk. So without those times, we never would experience those threesomes and foursomes.
Do you feel it's better to know that you can be with somebody that you can have that pillow talk with, rather than maybe just being an orgy or having sex with someone, or both beneficial, you think?
Well, I think for me, knowing what your partner wants is the most exciting thing to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And to try to live that fantasy out with them, for them, but be part of that. That's better than walking into any orgy or,
Yeah.
any situation like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No, I haven't been a part of an orgy yet, but I think I have that understanding of myself when it comes to knowing I want to connect with someone one-on-one, and being in a group setting. I guess it's just something I have to break through at some point in time, of, well, the genital herpes aspect of thing like we talked about earlier.
Right.
And also just having that experience to see what it's actually like, so I'm excited to maybe do that in the orgy barn here. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we're going to see. I don't know. So why do couples talk about everything except for what turns them on?
I think it's a society limit. We're trained
Mhm.
through society, that we shouldn't like anything that's too crazy or too weird or too out there. And, I think it's conditioning. I think it's especially conditioning for women.
Yeah.
Women are trained from an early age not to, be slutty, not to be, that person, express themselves. Guys are told to go out and conquer the world, and women are told to be, good little girls. And, I do think that podcasts and more progressive TV shows are helping change that, though,
Yeah.
in society.
Yeah, especially now, when, like, going in the direction of how do we educate a kid, and at what age, when it comes to just sex education in general. Because if not, it's either going to be porn, or their kids bullying them at school. So do you think that that's a reality? Do you think that's a reality?
I think it's a huge problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think human sexuality classes are just terrible. They don't really teach anything. I know people that don't even know anything about their vagina. And they went to class and they went to school and they don't know how to pleasure themselves. They don't know what's norm, what's not norm, what's okay. I think schools really let us down.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of politicians. They don't want us to have too much information,
Yeah.
and they don't want people to grow up to be gay and trans and all these things they're afraid of, instead of just telling people the truth and letting them be who they are.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I think, and maybe you talking just now made me realize, like, I think it's almost a degree in school. You can teach someone how a whole combustion engine works, but you won't teach a kid how to drive the car, or young adult how to drive the car. You don't know what a green or red light is, or what to do to come off of a ramp. I think that's how sex ed is. I think that's how it is. It's like, you can teach everyone all the internal parts of you, your penis, your vagina, and everything, but how do I relate to you? What is consent, and what does that truly mean? I think that, do you see that being the case as well? Do you think?
I think that's a great analogy. I think we're
Yeah.
more than just our anatomy.
Yeah.
Sex is about emotion.
Yep.
It's not just parts. And you can teach people in school about parts, but how do you teach people about emotions and how to connect with somebody?
Yeah.
And I think that's the psychology that we're missing in schools.
100%. I agree. All right. So what would happen if if we treated sex talks like dinner parties? Frequent, chill, and full of flavor.
I think it'd be great if we could talk about sex at dinner with friends.
Yeah, friends.
And be more honest. You don't have to go into every detail,
Yeah.
but normalizing sex, I think, is one of the greatest things that could happen to society, because there's so much fear right now, especially on different types of sexualities. And the truth is, if you just knew people that had those feelings, you wouldn't be afraid of them. You would realize, oh, that's my Uncle Frank. That's my friend down the road. And, I think we're afraid of what we don't understand. And if we don't talk about it, then how are we ever going to understand?
And I think the kickback of what I'm hearing in the audience and what someone would say will be like, that sounds good, but how do I have that conversation if it's not just friends that I'm comfortable with, but also not only friends that I'm maybe just getting along with, and also just family dynamics? So what would you say we could do in that direction?
I think it is difficult, especially with families, right?
Yeah.
But my son knows about me. He knows I'm bisexual. He knows that I'm non-monogamous. I've had those discussions with him, and he at this point doesn't partake in those things,
Yeah.
but at least he knows who I am and he respects me for who I am. And I think maybe one day he'd be more open to people like me in this world because he knows me and he respects me. And I think that's kind of how we have to start, little by little, small little bites.
Oh, yeah.
You don't eat an elephant all at one time, right?
Or you eat it all at one time and you figure out how that works. Okay. Yeah. Last little bit. So, yeah. So out of everything we've talked about, to be able to fight this stigma, what would be your like last words to say for people that would like to normalize, whether it be sex and nudity or non-monogamy or just help the space with STD and general herpes world? What do you think could be best within to fight the stigma?
Well, I think we have a long ways to go, especially with STDs. And I think when we can get to the point where we can openly talk about it and talk about prevention and talk about testing and talk about what you can do after the fact, I think we'll be in such a better world. But right now, we have to start somewhere, and that's just simply talking and simply being honest to, number one, our partners, our family, and our friends.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah. One last quote. We have any quote to end this conversation? You want to hit everyone with it?
It's only sex. I mean, Larry Flint said it a long time ago. It's only sex. It's not that big of a deal. And I know people that throw parties with the same concept. It's only sex. I think we have to keep that in mind and stop making it such a big deal.
Yeah.
It's fun. It can be fun. It can be romantic. It can be sensual. But at the end of the day,
Oh yeah. Well, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. And much love. Keep spreading it. This is the Fight the Stigma Tour with my brother. I appreciate y'all. Much love. Keep spreading it. Deuces.